Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at very spooky, gory, and other types of genre offerings. We'll just kind of throw everything under the bus here. All right, tonight we are reviewing The Boy Behind the Door, which is streaming now on SHUDDER, and you'll notice it's just me and Crystal, and that makes it the best episode ever. No, don't ever say that out loud. I did not say that.
It totally does.
Nobody watches. All right,
we're the best.
Yes, but let's say hello to Crystal Cleveland. How you doing?
You don't even have to move us. I feel like those people who are on SNL and they're like, sweaty balls. They're the independent. No. When I talk into it, I'm like, tastes so good. Doesn't it taste good? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present you. Oh, sweaty balls. That's the weirdest reference we've had, but the funniest, perhaps. All right, tonight we are going to, like I said, we're reviewing Boy Beyond the Door. It's going to be on Shudder. We're going to give our first impression, which will be spoiler-free. And then we're going to dive into a discussion, which we'll get into spoilers, but we're going to get into spoilers. Then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. All right, before we do, we got to take a look at what this film actually is. So let's cue the card. All right, The Boy Behind the Door is available exclusively on Shudder beginning July 29, 2021. Written and directed by David Charbonier and Justin Powell. I'm pretty much sure I mispronounced that, but the way I was going to pronounce
Charbonnet?
Charbonnet? Yeah, it's not.
Maybe.
It's not Charbonner, so that's.
Charbonnet is what I would
Charbonnet.
say. Like it sounds French. I'm not sure if that's correct, but Charbonnet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The cast includes Alani Chavez, Ezra Dewey, and Christian Bauer Van Straten, one of my favorite actresses from Twin Peaks. I was going to say Twin Peaks, but no, True Blood. From True Blood. I love True Blood. All right, synopsis. After Bobby and his best friend Kevin are kidnapped and taken to a strange house in the middle of nowhere, Bobby manages to escape. But as he starts to make a break for it, he hears Kevin scream for help and realizes he can't leave his friend behind, which is admirable. And
it's a nice poster.
Yeah. And now the story is can he save his friend and survive the night as well? So that's basically what the film's about. But underlying all that is a lot of stuff that may elicit different reactions. But let's find out what our first impression of the film is. And Crystal, of course, you are up first.
Oh, you did switch up. Oh, wow. Okay, you're going to make me big anyway. Okay, so so the basis of the story is really about these two boys and their friendship. About how one says, I'm not going to leave you behind, and he doesn't leave him behind. And it's kind of a horror... Uh-oh.
I dropped on the road. Sorry.
A horror Home Alone.
It is.
This film might trigger some people. It absolutely triggered me lots of times because spoiler alert, even though obviously what do people kidnap boys for except for pedophilia rings? It's basically about a pedophilia ring. So I want people to know that because if I had known that, I wouldn't watch this movie.
Oh, really? You wouldn't watch it at all?
That's where my line is. I don't like movies where... even the implication of it has to be done in a certain way to where it's a little bit more palpable for me. Maybe once we're past it, not necessarily living in the moment. If it was like a memory, if it was it's a little bit easier to deal with as opposed to something that is actually in the moment. And then these poor kids just keep getting hurt and hurt and hurt. And that just does not do it for me. When you see someone who is weaker being abused, it's not fun. I think that horror is best when you have at least two people that could be on the same level or the same. I don't like it when it's children or the mentally handicapped or old people or animals. That's my thing. So I love horror and I love my gore. I like it placed certain ways. So if that doesn't trigger you, I think that this movie is very high tension. I was stressed out quite a bit. Um, it's kind of a little bit silly because it's not very plausible that they would allow this kid to basically have free reign and just run around. Like, I can't believe they weren't able to get this kid sooner. It's just very weird. It's got a lot of plot holes. It's got a lot of plot holes because at one point an officer gets murked, and yet there's no there's no officers coming to help him or coming to get him or coming to check on him. That's not the way it works for officers. They actually do check in. They say where they're going. There's reasons. They have checks and balances. So there's a lot of plot holes here. I think the acting is great. I almost feel like maybe someone made this movie because they wanted to showcase the boys' acting talents or something more than what the story is. I'm not really quite sure because I don't know why someone would want to show half-naked boys in a movie, but I didn't make the movie. So, like I said, I think the acting is done well. I think the movie is shot well. I think it's edited well. I think the sound is good. So, I mean, it ends on a high note.
Well, and
So
that's always a good thing, right?
yeah, so that's good. I mean, it's not the Serbian film or anything, so, there's that.
There is that. Oh my God, that would be 10 times worse. All right, this is also from the directors who did The Djinn, which we did earlier this year, and that also had a boy in a story that he had to face evil and terror. So I think it's just a theme with these directors where they like their leads to be strong young adults. These are, man, I'm not sure what that's about, but I didn't feel I mean, in the context of the story, yeah, but I think that was just, it wasn't about that. It was more about them surviving and rescuing each other and their relationship and doing the Home Alone bit. And we're using that as, where, kids basically one up the adults, and that has become a Home Alone type situation. It's
not funny. We need to explain that.
Yeah,
when we say
funny,
that, this is not
all.
a funny movie. It's not funny. We're just talking conceptually.
Yeah. But so this kid is basically, has to fight for survival and does so admirably. And I didn't think it was, I mean, is it preposterous in a lot of ways, but I still found it in the realm of, believability. I didn't have a problem. There was no point where I went, nope, I'm out. This is never going to happen. But
really, like he cleaned up the blood and hid the body, and you found that believable. You found this child capable of hiding a body and cleaning up the blood.
I didn't have a problem with it. No, but I thought it was like, well, of course that's what a kid would think he'd have to do, right? But
no,
anyway.
I mean, it's what he should have done.
Right.
I mean, because he bought himself some more time. I don't think that he would have been capable of doing it, is what I'm saying. I don't think it's very plausible. I don't think in the time that he had, I think they already established this kid was a little bit more self-reliant than other kids. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, because but there's, okay, so if you can get past that kind of stuff, I think you're going to enjoy the movie more.
No. Let's also focus on the axe to the door as opposed to just axing the door handle to get to the boy. No, there's so much silliness here. I mean, that's not believable. What did The Shining really affect people so much they really think they need to axe the door? You axe the handle to get into the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? This stuff just drives me insane. So there's a lot of there's more than just the pedophilia that I have an issue with this movie. I think that the story has a lot of issues. I'm really surprised it was kind of made in its current incantation because there's so many plot holes. It's silly at a point.
Well, you were right though. The two kids are fantastic, and we really only have 3 adults that have dialogue in the film, and most of that is Van Straten, and I liked her
I do too.
a lot. I'm a big fan of hers, and this is so different than the role she had in True Blood. Who was she in True Blood again? I forget the kid. Pam. Yes, Pam in True Blood.
Yeah, I love her.
But
she was. I was like, damn, she's in this movie. I love her so much. I was like, she's doing well. I think all the actors did a great job.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a part where
I
I really enjoy. Yeah. Am I gonna do it like that? There's some. I don't know. I found myself rooting for these kids. I felt for them. I wanted them to survive. Wanted them to find a way out. And I enjoyed the Shining reference with the door. That didn't bother me. But you bring it up as being silly. Of course it is. But in the moment, I was all about it. I thought this was very tense. I was on the edge of my seat watching it. Rooting for the kids.
The tension was super high.
And when the cop, and when the cop was there roaming in the house, I was like, oh God, this is not going to end well.
I will give them kudos for the cop because honestly, with this type of typical movie like this, they would typically make the cop part of it, and they didn't. Thankfully, I was like, okay. They went against the like the kid would see the cop and be like, help, and the cop would be like, oh, okay, I'll help you, but they're actually part of
I've seen that many times.
Yeah. So that's what I thought. Luckily that was not the case, and so I'll give them some props there. And like I said, it's shot well, it's done well. It's not a bad movie. I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
Yeah. I think so too. I think, but I also get it if the triggering elements, but
there's not much that bothers me.
Yeah.
But there's just far too many pedophiles in the world for me, more than we know.
Well, I'm not supporting pedophiles.
I know you're. Oh no, no. But I also see the reason why clearly you didn't find it sexual, so of course it wouldn't bother you. I'm highly sensitive to it because I have little boys, and it is known you don't post photos of your child half naked, and that's why you see people pulling them down and they had some half naked boys, from the top up, and I was like, okay, that actually really bothers me because it is a thing. That's all.
And you could have done this film without having to do that and still come across with the same.
Yep.
Same story.
It didn't matter what they were gonna. Even if they just wanted to kill and eat the kids, that would have been more palatable for me. Palatable.
Put a little salt and pepper, and everything's better. Yeah. Yes. But So. At the core of this, it's about these, like you were saying, it's about these two kids. They actually have this dream of getting through all life and ending up going to California. And it's bond. It's a bond that I think is the strength of the movie, because that's the strength of this kid. He has to save his friend, and his friend also has the same bond because he wants to survive, and he has his moment too.
Yes,
which I thought was
appreciated that
really well. Yeah, so I like this movie. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you're still hanging out with us, we want to thank you for watching your review. We hope you enjoyed not only this review, but other reviews we have on the site. And if you want to help us out, it's really easy and free to do. You hit the subscribe button down below, or you share with a friend, and that will do wonders. And we would thank you. Of course, we always love comments, and we've been getting some great comments lately. Thank you all for commenting. And if you want to do so, comment down below. Have you? Yes.
We should do feedback. I don't know. I haven't seen any.
We should do feedback.
We should do feedback sometime. We should do a feedback.
Just a feedback episode?
Yeah.
No, okay. Well, that's it.
So that I can cry. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll put that on the books.
I don't do that.
We'll put it on the books. All right. Let's get into it. Crystal, you're up first. What was your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene?
Okay. So, as long as you can handle what I mentioned, then you're going to enjoy this movie. If you don't know, it'll be just fine for you. I just have my little triggers. That's totally on me. It is nothing to do with the quality of the movie, other than some plot holes that are kind of big. But I'm going to give this movie, for what it's made for, like my feelings aside, a 2.5. I might give it a 2. I almost want to give it, a 2.5. I almost want to give it, but the plot holes really bother me too. I'm trying to figure out whether it's the triggers or the plot hole. I don't know for sure what is like teetering there. I'm trying to be really take myself out of it. So I'll just stay with the 2.5 and be
okay
safe with that. Yeah. My favorite scene is, and I actually found it kind of funny, and I was thankful. Like the accidental stab. It wasn't really it was accidental. Like it's like, ugh, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. In the kitchen. Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, thank God. Because I was like, kill what you gotta do. And yeah, and I knew he wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that would be very implausible. You know how hard it would be. That's a whole nother thing.
No. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. I obviously I enjoyed this from our discussion. For me, I really got into the kids. I really felt for their story, felt for their their bond and their need to survive, and this Home Alone-ish type of way of surviving the evening and making their way out. And they go from one terror to another, and they think they're saved and they're not, and then so I felt the tension, I felt the stress, and I felt the horror of it. So for me, it worked on those elements, and I really enjoyed. And I thought the two lead kids were what they were asked to do. They outperformed. They really did, and I look forward to see what they can do from here. Very strong, and of course, seeing Pam, Miss Van Stratton. She was fun, and I didn't even realize she was going to be in it until she opens the door, and I was like,
oh,
wow, okay. And
I was glad to see a female in the movie.
Yes, and so I'm giving it a little bit better. I'm giving it 3.5.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
And my favorite scene is going to be when she's crazy.
I know you've mentioned it several times.
Creatively handcuffed to the door. She's actually okay. So she's actually shot the poor kid, and she's sticking her thumb into it, and he's got clippers, these hedge clippers, right? But they're obviously not hedge clippers because there's like a stretched out tool thing of so they're anyway. So he ends up snip. And he pulls
and deservedly so.
And pulls the thumb out of the bullet hole. I just thought it was just her reaction to it, the way they set it up, the way it was executed, and it just I loved it. I don't know why I'm a sicko. Anyway,
she got what she deserved.
She did get what she deserved.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice when you see the bad guys get it. Yeah. Totally with you.
But you knew that was she was not gonna she was now the tiger in the corner, right? She was now the upset beast. She was already a problem, but now she's a real big problem.
Really angry.
Really. And she was. And
Wow.
she was. There you go. That's our review for The Boy Behind the Door. If this interests you, it's on Shudder.
I'll be interested to see what people think about it. It could
Yeah,
just
yeah.
be, I mean, I could psychologically have a discussion with someone where I could prove them absolutely wrong that this is not healthy. This is
Mhm.
not a healthy movie for pedophilia, for that sort of thing. I could actually dissect it. But I can understand how people can overlook that. And that's even scarier for me.
So it is. It is. And I
It's a
don't know what I
problem.
feel.
No. I just think that that's something that, oh, yeah, makes me a little sad.
On that high
Okay, I'm
note,
Debbie Downer. Yeah.
uh, Crystal, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
this was fun.
We,
I
we
mean,
need
actually, it was fun just us. I mean, and we didn't agree, and look at us being adults.
how's that happen?
That's a good question.
I don't
That's
know.
a
I've never
really
done
good
that
question.
before. All right, with that, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.